OK, now to one of the country's favourite topics, house prices. Well, prices here in London are rising at their lowest level for 5 years. That's according to Home Track. Now, other cities in the south are also seeing prices cool off, but it's a different story if you're in the Midlands or the north of the country. There you're seeing very strong growth in house prices, as high as 8% in some places. So what's causing this north-south divide? Well, Kate Faulkner is a property consultant and joins me now. Kate, thanks for joining us. What is behind this seeming north-south divide?
Well, it's very simple, really. We had a massive credit crunch back in 2007. House prices fell everywhere. London and the South East recovered very, very quickly and have seen some incredibly strong growth over a period of time of what is now 10 years. And actually, I'm here in the Midlands, and we saw very little growth for the first 5 or 6 years after the recession. And what we're seeing is a little bit of additional growth now. But I have to say, it's nothing like the level that you've seen down in London and the South East. But it's still some good news, because some areas in the north still actually haven't recovered their house prices versus what they were in 2007.
Now, of course, here in the south, vast swathes, high numbers of areas are simply unaffordable for people. Do you think that's going to become the case perhaps further on for the north of the country?
No, I actually think it's going to be totally the opposite. One of the bits of good news really that's coming out is that Parliament and local authorities are now starting to build more homes, and more importantly understand that more affordable homes are what we need, not multi-million-pound properties. So there's a huge swathe of shared ownership coming through, and a lot more support for things like Help to Buy schemes, and also indeed for those in the rented sector, where you can rent properties potentially at 80% less than the market rate, which may allow you then to save for a property of your own. So in actual fact, the growth rates that we're seeing in the Midlands and the North now, we've seen these before. They're nowhere near as high as we've seen in the past. 2003, we'd be seeing 20 to 30% growth rates in 1 year in this area, and we're not seeing the growth rates come through whether you're in London or the South East or in the rest of the country. So actually, I think we've got a more rosier picture, certainly for people who want to buy in the future, than we've had in the past.
I hate to drag Brexit into everything, but is that having an impact down here in the south?
I think to some extent, if that is going to have an impact, it's maybe been in the premium market, where some savvy investors have perhaps negotiated a better deal than they would have done if Brexit hadn't been on the scene. But overall, I don't think we're really seeing much of an impact. We saw a little bit of a wobble in confidence perhaps over the summer last year, but that's not long term. The big question mark moving forward is really the impact of buy-to-let on demand for property in London and the South East, but more importantly, what impact that's going to have on the private rented sector, and whether there are, in fact, the problems that we've got in the ownership area are now going to be transferred into the private rented sector, which isn't necessarily going to see the volume come through that it requires to satisfy the level of demand that's out there.
Kate, thanks very much.